First, I want to give a Yesher Koyach to Rav Moshe for arranging all of the speakers, all of the whole program today. Also, Grace Yesher Koyach, this is the first year that we have the Rav with us. Give him a Grace Yesher Koyach as well for all of the years of such a wonderful program. The Kinnis, it's mentioned many times, the story of Yoshiyahu, that he was killed because he didn't listen to the Navi. The Navi told him that he wasn't on such a level, he wasn't such a tzaddik, the nation wasn't such tzaddikim that they could tell Mitzrayim not to go through, and he went out and he fought, and at the end, when they were Meirech Chitzim, so what he was whispering then was Tzaddik Hashem Kipiu Morisi. I want to bring out a little bit of a theme that I see over here, and that is that the Yetzer Hara has 7 names. One of the names, the final name of the Yetzer Hara is Tzifoini, and Tzifoini means that he's hidden. One is not even aware that the Yetzer Hara has overtaken him, has controlled him. Another name of the Yetzer Hara is Evan. Evan means that Vasiroisias levo Evan v'nosati lochem leiv bosar. A heart of stone is not margish. The Gemara tells us that the second Beis Hamikdash was different than the first Beis Hamikdash. The second Beis Hamikdash, they were oisik b'toyre b'gmilas chasodim, and still the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed because of sinas chinam. The first Beis Hamikdash, they had the Gimel Averis, and the Gemara says which one is worse, and the Gemara says that from the second Beis Hamikdash how much longer the Golus was, and the Gemara says that there's Toiva Tzipoirin Shel Rishonim Mikreisa Shel Achroinim, and the Vilna Gaon explains that there are outward sins and there are internal sins. There's actions that one does on the outside that are not okay, but internally the problems do not run as deep. And there are sometimes when outside everything looks good, but internally it's a hot mess. And he says that Edom, this Golus that we're in now, is the Golus of Edom. The Golus of Edom, we all know, he says the Gaon says the 4 Goliyos are connected, the 4 animals that are not kosher. And Edom shows the Simonim, the Chazer shows the Simonim on the outside that everything is beautiful, that it has Simonic kashrus, that it has split hooves, but inside, the Simon of the internal Simon was the Malager. It's not a Malager, but it goes ahead and shows. So he says the Avera of Sinas Chinam was an Avera of internal, and therefore we were Neufel Biyad Edom, that Edom symbolizes that on the outside everything looks perfect, but on the inside it's really very rotten. And this theme I saw brought down from Rabbi Rucham. He explains as well that the chet of sinas chinam, the reason why this chet is such a big chet is because they weren't even aware of it. The outward chatoim that a person does, avodah zarah, gilei arayis, ritzicha, so they know that they did an avera. The biggest problem is when one doesn't even know that they had the avera that they did. You see that they spoke in the Haftarah that we learned, that they spoke nicely, they spoke to their friends as if everything was good, but inside they were really plotting. And I think it might mean even more. They weren't even self-aware that they didn't like somebody. They weren't able to have the language and the understanding of the pneumius of what was going on. So, if this is the Siba for the Chet, and again, that's Yoshiyahu, the Leitzoni Ador, behind, they hid, everything was hidden, the Averis, so he thought he was a tzaddik on the outside, but the Litzani Adar really, what was going on inside was rekev, was all rotten. So Lamaisa, we come to our generation now, and we hear a Gemara, Yerushalmi, that says that Kol Dor Shaloi Nivna Beis Hamikdash B'Yamav is Ki'ilu Nechrav, and it's a very depressing thought. If every single generation, from the time of the Churban to our generation, was rotten enough that if the Beis Hamikdash would have been there, it would have been destroyed. As a betting man, I don't think that our generation, however great we may think, has any chance at all of succeeding in having the Beis Hamikdash rebuilt. And therefore, it's a very shveri Gemara, it's a very depressing Gemara. So I found Taka that it doesn't mean, it also doesn't, we say in Eichel Lein, Avoseinu Chotu Veinenu, Va'anachnu Avoseinu Sovalnu. We are being sovel the chet of the Avoseinu. Now, if it's the Gemara Kepshutai, that means that it would be destroyed just on our actions. It doesn't make sense to blame, to say that we are sovel der Chatoim. We have Eigene Chatoim. So Avada, it's not true. Avada doesn't mean that it would be destroyed from our Averis in every single generation. What it means is that at this time, in this Kufa, we are like a Nanas Agabe Anok, we're so close, building on all of what our predecessors have done already. We're very close to being able to achieve the Geula. And therefore it's a big taina on us that if we don't go ahead and mamish finish it, so then it's like we're destroying it, because we can actually go ahead and build it. So it's punkt vaker. It's because we're very close to being able to. And I think that perhaps it's a little bit not what, I don't think this is what the standard you'll say is, but I think the reason why maybe our generation is a little bit closer is Gufa because of this, because of the Pnimius is Taka, an awareness. There's a whole world of becoming self-aware, of emotions, of therapy. As a matter of fact, I see the fact that there's AI as a positive thing, because Taka, if everybody's just their intellectual capabilities, one day they're going to be surpassed by AI. And the AI will be smarter than them. But when a person realizes that what's going on inside is that they have a leiv basar, and they have feelings, and they recognize their feelings, and they recognize their own feelings, they're able to recognize another person, and they realize that it's all about having the awareness of their emotions and having awareness of other people's emotions. And that's what Sinas Chinam is. Sinas Chinam is being able to have a hard heart and not to be able to feel and not to be able to see. And it starts from denying our own feelings that allows us to deny other people's feelings and other people's things and not to be margashit. So if we take away the leiv even and we put in a leiv basar and we're margish and we're self-aware, and we don't think tzaddikim anachnu v'lo chotanu. And you see a theme throughout all the Nevi'ah Sheker. We're always telling them how great they are and how amazing they are, how nothing bad is going to happen. And that was because they weren't able to be in touch with the parts of themselves that weren't okay. So they couldn't go there. So they needed to hear the positive message. And they weren't able to be makabel mikoil ha'moichichim, who were really there for their good. But they felt so destroyed if they did something wrong that they weren't able to be makabel. And Yirmiyahu told them after, if you would have listened one time, you wouldn't be here today. He wasn't telling it to gloat. He was sitting there with them on their way to Golus, and he was telling them, I'm doing it because of love. Rabbi Yanki mentioned that in the Tsar of the Churban, we could feel a tremendous nechama. We know David HaMelech, Melech Mashiach, was born on Tisha B'Av, and the Kruvim even though when the not Oyser Ritzoyne Shalmakim are always facing away from each other, but when the Goyim came into the Heichel, they saw that the Kruvim were together. So the Mefarshim explain, because there's a concept of when there's a going away, when there's a Richok, it makes the Ava much stronger. Makes the Ava much stronger. There's a concept of Chayav Lifkoit, V'yetzel L'derech, is a person's Chayav Lifkoit as Ishtoi. There's a certain Pegida that happens in the destruction, in the tragedy. Should Taka be Zeicha to feel mitoich the destruction, mitoich the Avelis, to feel the underlying theme of the Ava that the Rebbeinu Shalom has to us, that enables us to be margish all of the parts of ourselves that need a tikkun, and we should be zeicha to the Gul Shleima.